Hey guys, Jim Skelton here. Welcome back to the 5-Minute Watch Review. Here we're going to take more or less 5 minutes to discuss some of your favorite watches, give you some of the features and benefits, and help you make that buying decision, including the most important part, talking about the pricing and if it's really worth the price that we're seeing it for.
Is that a Helm watch? Yep. I got a Helm watch. The Vanuatu, it seems, will suit all my needs. Often praised as the king of Michael brand tool divers, but isn't all it's cracked up to be? Well, firstly, hot damn. The price is so low, you'd think it's a scam, but it's not. Now you know when it's so damn hot, and the size is so perfect, it has a larger effect. Scared it would be too small, but now it's got my respect, my respect. Shit, it wears like a 44. You might wait forever, the waiting list is a downer. But hey, it sure beats seeing a sold-out banner. All Helm watches are in demand. You need to understand that to get one in your hand, you need to be a long-term planner. Are they the kings of tool divers? So many brands have come and gone, but Helm's a survivor. The Vanuatu in steel is an anchor. If your girl takes it, you need to spank her. Because if she wears it diving, it will damn sure tank her, and you'll cry 'cause it sank her. She wasn't ready, and neither are you, neither are you. So just wait in the queue and buy something else, maybe two. They might get you through. Because when that email arrives and they want you to pay, all your dreams will come true in a matter of days. The strap is pure class, and the bracelet kicks ass. Comfortable beyond all expectation. I'm not much for the ocean, but this will be my choice when I go on vacation. And in the sea, in the air, this thing is so tough it can go anywhere. But is it all it's cracked up to be?
You might wait forever, the waiting list is a downer. But hey, I sure beat seeing a sold-out banner. All Helm watches are in demand, you need to understand that to get one in your hand, you need a long-term planner. Are they the kings of tool divers? So many brands have come and gone, but Helm's a survivor. The Vanuatu in steel is an anchor. If your girl takes it, you'll need to spank her. Because if she wears it diving, it will damn sure tank her. And you'll cry 'cause it's anchor. She wasn't ready, and neither are you, 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 neither are you. So just wait in the queue and buy something else, maybe two. They might get you through. Because when that email arrives and they want you to pay, all your dreams will come true in a matter of days. The strap is pure class and the bracelet kicks ass.
And today's watch is the Helm Vanuatu. This is a special one, and I am super excited to finally get the chance to bring this out to you. This is the Hype Watch with over a 2-year current wait list to order. Now, is it worth the wait? Is it worth the money? Well, that's what we're here to discuss. This watch is flat out awesome. Truly, really awesome. On the wrist, with the naked eye, astonishingly nice. In a tool watch way. Now, you saw the specs during the photo montage, but a few are worth repeating for sure, in case you were so distracted by that horrible song that I wrote. Yes, I realize they're cheesy, but I'm enjoying doing it, so bear with me. So what you've got here is a 42 millimeter case in 316L stainless steel. You have an option in either stainless steel or in titanium. Mine here is in stainless steel. And it weighs in with the engineer bracelet on it at 235 grams. This is not a lightweight watch by any stretch of the imagination, and it's not really supposed to be. This is a 300-meter water-resistant diver with a sapphire crystal, interchangeable bezels with other options available on the Helm website, and interchangeable bracelets with other bracelet options available on the Helm website, as well as a bunch of other straps as well. And you've got a lot of strap options outside of Helm as well, because it's got 22 millimeter lugs, which is a good standard size and easy to find on pretty much every strap maker's website. Your lume is Swiss Superluminova BGW9 with dark orange Superluminova accents. And the movement inside is the SII NH35A, and that gives you a power reserve of about 40 hours. So what you've got here is something not terribly unique on its face, not terribly unique when you read the spec list, but it is a special watch. However, it's still a tool diver, so there are no luxury appointments that make them particularly stand out special among its peers because, well, that's the point of a tool diver, is to eliminate any extraneous nonsense. It's not to over-design. It's not to put a whole bunch of crap all over it, making it harder to read the time or harder to access the bezel. It's straight to the point, and it needs to be easy to use for its intended purpose. And this, for diving or other water activities. Now, 42 millimeters is my personal bare minimum. Where I'm comfortable the most is 42 to 44 millimeters. That's where I want to be for every watch that I wear currently. Now, over 44 millimeters was fine for me 20 years ago, but that's not what I enjoy anymore. Times have changed, and I'm also 50 now, not 30, so my tastes have evolved. And that's where the real fun kicks in for me. I don't care what the spec sheet says. You cannot tell this from a 44 millimeter watch. Take a good look at that. It wears almost exactly like my Zen U1, just a little bit heftier. Actually, not even. On a strap and on a strap, they're pretty much the same. But the real estate it takes up on the wrist is the same. And I'll be honest with you, just like it said in the goofy-ass song that I wrote, I was worried about this being 42 millimeters. I was worried that it was going to play too small.
Shit, it wears like a 44.
Because again, 42 is my bare minimum that I'll go. And imagine my elated surprise the first time I put this on the wrist, and it looked and it felt and in every other way appeared to be a 44 millimeter. So much so that I actually had to break out my calipers and double check it. Another great surprise to me was this very flexible engineer style bracelet. I expected at this price for the links to have a harsh edge on them up against the skin that would make it either uncomfortable to wear or at least really easy to feel that I'm wearing it on the wrist. And honestly, it's only the weight of it that makes any sort of impact. It's super comfortable, and I wish everyone in this sub $300 price range could do the same. Now, the only downer for me is that the sapphire crystal is super reflective. They say it has an AR coating, but it's ineffective. Now, the bezel, it's solid. It ratchets very well. It's a 120 click bezel that is completely solid. There is no wiggle, no play, no anything. As long as you do your part, it will align perfectly. I missed it again by one click. Doesn't that drive you insane? Let's try this again. There we go. It is perfectly aligned. They did an amazing job on this bezel. Speaking of which, the crown is a dream. Once you've got it unscrewed, it pops out exactly where it needs to be for winding. It's not trying to access the threads that are on the crown tube extension. Works perfectly. Now, the size along with the serrations in the crown make it super easy to grasp so that you can screw it and unscrew it. And the threading into the crown tube extension is smooth and wonderful. The machining they did on the threads, phenomenal. And again, and I can't even say for this price range, so many watches don't have good matching threads. These are smooth and it's like they glide together. Now, it's easy to whine about the wait list because that's really the biggest deal when it comes to these watches. And yes, I understand why people get upset. Yeah, it sucks, but which would you rather see on the watch that you really want badly? A 2-year wait list, which is right now kind of how it is, or a sold out banner? I can't count how many watches I've discovered that I fell in love with, and I went immediately to the brand's website and then searched other retailers and everything else to find it, to buy it, and it just says sold out. And I missed it. I missed my opportunity. I'm never going to get one unless I pay ridiculous secondary market prices. At least you can and you will get one this way. And in the meantime, while you're waiting, you can just buy other watches to fill that void. Now, I'm no stranger to wait lists. I've been on 5+ year wait lists for custom knives, so this isn't terrible to be 1 or 2 years out, but it's still no fun waiting on anything. Now, for me, it was hard to decide between stainless steel and titanium because they both had things that I wanted. I would much prefer the weight of the titanium and the color temperature of the titanium. However, every report that I've heard on the Thai version is that the clasp sucks and it's hard to pry it open. And I didn't want to deal with that. Every single time I go to take the watch off or put it back on, I didn't want to have to deal with that. So I'll deal with the additional weight and the comfort disparity in the steel. Now, again, luckily, it wears super well on the wrist, so I don't have an issue with it. I have worn larger and significantly heavier watches in my lifetime, so this is not a burden for me. I realize that for a lot of people, 235 grams is going to be just too much to bear. I get that. Now, my only regret on this watch is that it looks, in the dial, so similar to my Zin U1. Between the way the dial looks and the handset, which they've kind of inverted it. So on the Zin, their hour hand is the syringe hand. And on the Helm, it's the minute hand that's the syringe hand. The hour markers are larger and more noticeable on the Helm. And you have the minute or second scale is more prominent as well. And I also love the fact that you've got the orange dots at each of the hours. And by the way, again, as I mentioned earlier, they do glow. That is orange superluminova. So there are definitely still things here that I like better than my Zin. And there are things about my Zin that no other watch is ever going to compare to. Here's the thing. You absolutely cannot buy a comparable watch for this small of a price. It just doesn't exist. And if you're like me, you have watched every single review of this watch on YouTube. You did it before you ordered. You did it when you're on the wait list. You did it after you got the confirmation email and you're waiting for it to arrive because you're excited. And you're soaking in all the information, you're soaking in everybody's opinions, and you're just desperate to get a good look at it from every view, from every angle, to validate your purchase. I get that. I do the exact same thing. Some people say that they need to raise their prices. No. Stop saying that crap. They have the magic formula. Affordable prices that we will never see anymore on such a high quality watch with kind of a custom feel and, due to the wait list, kind of a custom experience. There's just nothing out there that's like it. There she is on one of my leather NATO straps. And I should stop right there for a second. When you're buying the watch, they tell you at Helm Watches that you are getting a bracelet and a NATO strap, and that you get to choose your colors and color combinations. I'm sorry, but this is not a NATO strap. This is a Zulu. And there is a difference between a Zulu and an actual NATO strap. The NATO is going to have a section of strap that goes underneath and this additional loop for it to run through again after you get it through the spring bar. This is your standard 5-ring NATO. This is a 3-ring Zulu. So again, they are different. Do I care? No. Yeah, I like having the extra material underneath the case, and it helps keep it centered on the strap. And yes, if, God forbid, one of the spring bars were to break, it's going to remain secure, and I don't have anything to worry about, which is the reason why you're using a NATO strap to begin with. But again, keep in mind, with those 22 millimeter lugs, you're going to be able to buy anything you want. And good news, you're going to get several additional spring bars in your packaging. And normally that's not a big deal because they don't really cost much of anything and it's easy to get some. But these are super thick, some of the highest quality spring bars I have ever seen in any brand of watches. They're really, really nice. So keep that in mind as well. Everything they seem to be doing, they do right. And they're worried about the overall ultimate quality. And I just can't get over the thickness of this bracelet, the flexibility of the individual links, and the fact that it's so comfortable. I really thought there was going to be a harsh edge there because think of anybody else's watches in this price range that are on a bracelet. They usually suck. They usually kink up or they bind up a little bit. They usually have a little bit of sharpness to them. Now, there's no chamfer on the edges of these links, but they're very lightly softened. So they still have a definition to the shape of the link. They don't look all rounded and shapeless. They did it right. One other thing I'd like to mention is you can tell that they have master machinists doing the work here. Because a lot of times you'll buy watches that have a bracelet and straps and you can interchange them. And if they haven't developed some sort of unique system for the end links to get the bracelet on and off, they generally tend to be a pain in the butt with standard watchmakers' tools. They won't quite fit in the lugs just right. Or they do, and you get it in there and you're compressing the spring bar and it goes into one side, it pops into one hole, but you can't, for the life of you, move it around enough to get that spring bar to drop into the second hole, no matter what you do. This bracelet is perfectly machined to fit this case. That end link, once you compress that spring bar and you apply the pressure to push the end link up from behind, it just goes click, click, and it pops right into place. There's no wiggling and squirming and pushing and pulling and yelling and screaming and cursing and kicking the cat. None of that. It just drops right in. And that's the way it should always be. It shouldn't be a surprise. It shouldn't be a selling feature. That's the way all watches should be if they're making a system where there's interchangeability. So I really like that. Now, having the Vanuatu, I can honestly say that I am super excited for the email notifying me that I'm up on deck for my Kuraburi. I'm just beyond excited. I really want that Kuraburi now. And whenever that happens, I'll be sure to do a review on that as well. Let's do a quick look at the luminescence here. And then at the end of the video, I will, of course, do a nice long lume test on it. All right, break out the UV light. And we're just going to kind of scan it over the dial just for a couple of seconds here and see what that does. Oh, yeah. Oh, man, does that look good. And see how those orange dots at the top of every hour marker lights up. Again, that's something that I wish my Zinn did. I love my Zinn. Nothing is ever going to tell me that it's not one of the best watches ever. But man, that's pretty darn incredible. I think it's great. They did an amazing job on this watch. And yeah, I get why people do say, oh, they should charge more money for it. I can't believe how inexpensive it is. This is what we should expect. This honestly is a new bar for the industry that other brands honestly need to be striving for. You should not have to spend $1,500 buying something like a Genot silent service to get to this level of quality. That's just the way it is. Now, again, with that watch, you're justifying a lot of that money because of the selective polishing and brushing and very fancy finishes. This is all just brushed satin stainless steel everywhere. There is not a single polished surface on the entire watch. The case back is bead blasted, and then the raised embossed areas are going to be also in a radial satin. So you've got a bit of a two-tone effect. So yeah, when it comes down to it, it's not hype. Everybody's right. This is a fantastic watch on its own merits, just on how it was made, how it was designed, everything about it. Then, when you add to that it's under $300, brand spanking new, direct from Helm, that makes it so much more incredible. And a lot of times you can find these on the secondary market without an enormous upcharge to it. You know, eBay and everything else. You'll see them for $300, $400, $450, you know? There's a watch that I want desperately right now that was not very expensive. It was about $350 when it was made, but it was a very limited run. They sold out extraordinarily fast, and people are scalping people for $800 to $1,500 for them. And I'm sorry, that particular watch I'm speaking of is nice, and it's super cool, and I definitely really want it. But there's no way I would spend that amount of money on that particular watch because it's just not worth that. There's a lot of competition in that price range. There is no competition in this price range at this level. There's plenty of competition at $275. Yeah, sure there is. But they're nowhere near what this is. The closest you're going to get is a nice Seiko. What, like a King Samurai? And again, that at retail is $650, but you can generally buy them for around $300 to $400. And that's close to this. This is a level above it on almost everything. The water resistance, the balance on the wrist, the quality of the bracelet, the way it fits, the way it feels. The lume is comparable. So almost everything about this would be better than a King Samurai. So yeah, it's completely nuts. I've gone on long enough. I want to do the lume test for you, and then we'll be out. Thank you so much for joining me as always, and I'm going to do my best to bring out many, many more reviews, including spotlight reviews like this one that last more than the standard 5 minutes that my channel is named after.